Batten down the hatches, everybody. We're going beyond the borderline. You guys don't know us already, you should, but it's Connor, Cam, Phil, and Ryan.
What up?
And check out all our episodes. If you missed one, you have committed a sin. So go listen to it right now.
I guess this is episode 4, everybody. So
it doesn't matter what you're doing. Go listen to it. Unless you're, hugging your mother or something. But anyway, that's the only extenuating
Even she will tell you to stop what you're doing.
Yeah, your mother listens to our podcast. Okay, so last episode we were discussing, we went quite a few ways with it, but we started off with discussing the nature of genius. We hit a lot of things. We hit cryptos randomly, talked a little bit about the Egyptian pyramids, which keep cropping up.
Hey man, they're
a pressing topic.
Yeah, but then basically we got into a conversation about like religion in the context of ancient wisdom, like the Bible and other religious texts, the Quran or whatever. The reason they've lasted so long is because they contain stuff that is really important and drives towards the truth of everything, our universe and us as humans and our purpose and all that fun, amazing stuff. So I think we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper. Let's start with Connor. You posed an interesting question. I feel like let's just discuss that to start it off. The prophet
yeah
thing.
So my I guess my main concern, well, not really concern, but I guess a thing that I think about from time to time is like, all these different religions were cropping up at different times, but it was all like, relevant to the era, I guess. And every religion has different prophets. Some have similar have the same prophet, just see them in a little bit of a different light. But for the last 223 years, there hasn't really been a new prophet. There's been like saints and stuff like that, but no one, there's been no prophets. I guess the most significant person that I can think of is Mother Teresa, and but even then, not that she wasn't a prophet; she was just a saint.
So you're saying there's no one like prophet. You mean there's been no new religions for a while.
There's been no mythological figure like that Jesus represents.
It's not mythological, but yeah, there's been nobody above human power. Like, again, Christians believe Jesus Christ was able to walk on water and to feed many people.
Yeah, I wasn't saying Jesus didn't exist.
Like, do you mean in the sense
to perform
that
miracles? I mean that Jesus performed miracles, and Muhammad was the same thing. He performed many miracles, but there's been nobody really in the last 2020 through 23 years, whatever it is, 22, I guess.
Right.
That's performed serious miracles.
Well, you have to take it. Are you taking it literally or like?
Yeah.
I mean, like.
So if you're taking it literally, I have a perfect answer for that. And the reason you haven't seen something like that literally is because this all has to do with the Age of Enlightenment. Before the Age of Enlightenment, education wasn't mainstream. It wasn't seen as integral as it is, today. Everyone gets educated. Everyone goes to school. But if we're looking back at the times, even let's say the 16th century, education still wasn't that big a deal. Education was given out through the church. And if you weren't part of the church, then you weren't educated. So the reason, we haven't seen a prophet of the same stature as say Jesus or Muhammad is because back then when someone stood above everyone else to go back to this idea about geniuses were a lot more prevalent, and the threshold to be considered a genius was a lot lower because education and overall intelligence was a lot lower. So when people saw someone who was slightly above average do something that pushed the technological wheel forward, that was seen as revolutionary. That was seen as, oh my God, this person is otherworldly. He's beyond human. So I think Jesus was a genius for a lot of people, and he really.
Well, I think there's definitely a big difference between a genius and a prophet, because like a genius is just someone.
I'm using it as an analogy, Connor. I'm saying,
Connor, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Are you are you trying to confine prophet to the idea that a certain religion or a doctrine has like a spokesperson, like a face or a representative?
Well,
Is
some
because
some religions believe in multiple prophets, right? But let's just look up the definition of a prophet right here so we can figure it out.
Well, I
Well,
think
person
one
regarded-
thing
also
that's
think-
important is that like being a prophet, let's say you were to claim you were a new prophet of Christianity. So it's not like you're a new Messiah, but you're a new prophet of Christianity and you're preaching something new related to that faith. People would have to agree that yes, in fact, you are, you know. So there have been people, cult leaders, for example, that take some kind of perverse twist on Christianity and claim to be, you know, a new Messiah or a prophet or whatever. Like these people have come about in the last 100 years or so. But the fact of the matter is, most of us say, no, you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
You're-
now
I think the only way another like I think the only way a new prophet would really exist, and the only way everyone would 100% agree is if that person displayed some sort of supernatural feat or ability, which we know,
yeah,
as far as we know, is fiction. That doesn't happen.
Well, and this is the
Well,
biggest
who's to-
reason.
like,
So
that's-
you were talking about the
who's to
Age of
say?
Enlightenment earlier, and what the Age of Enlightenment did was change Europe and Western society from from being dominated by religion, dominated by the church. I mean, the church was not just a religious force; it was a political force. Like it
And up until
dominated
recently, it
Europe.
was. Up
Yeah,
until
so-
recently, it was.
But what happened in the Enlightenment and ever since was that logic and reason became the prime tools by which humans tried to figure things out, which is why we have today during the pandemic, for example, you hear everybody, I mean, what's the catchphrase? Trust the science, right?
Mhm.
Trust the science. Have faith in it is what they're saying. Have faith in us. We are the prophets of science and technology and medicine.
Yeah.
But
I never thought about it that
but-
way.
so because
Mhm.
really before you know the 17th century or 18th century, sorry, people didn't think like that. So you're right about the education, but people thought through the lens of religion. And
Mhm.
ever since then, logic and reason, the rational humans as rational beings, that has become the primary lens through which we view everything. So so you know, and that has led to society becoming, like Phil mentioned before we started recording, secular, increasingly secular. I mean, I think last year, for the first time in its history, the United States, Christianity was no longer a majority of the United States. Like more people identified as atheists, I believe. And so yeah, with that paradigm shift a couple hundred years ago, it's just gone increasingly towards less religion. So that
Mhm.
could be good or bad. I think it's probably bad. I think the rise of science is good, and we should be trying to understand things that can't be understood through the Bible.
Well, I
But
think
we need those ancient tenets still, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
so
I think the
my
reason
main
why-
thing is around the fact that, you know, like Ryan, and like you like to say, like, you know, this is fictional, Jesus didn't exist, like these
Oh, no,
miracles.
I didn't say
didn't
Jesus
happen.
didn't exist. I didn't say that.
Okay, well, you're saying the miracles are fictional, is what you're
Yes,
saying.
I'm saying
And
the
so,
literal
you know,
fact that
like,
he
who's
walked
to
on
say,
water is-
you know, you weren't there in that situation, so, you know, like maybe and like likely they are fictional, but who's to say that they didn't actually happen? You know,
Connor,
you never
don't
know.
mistake my skepticism for I would love for all those things to be true. Don't get me wrong. I would love that, you know, that our world is a lot bigger than we currently perceive it. I would love for there to be specific individuals that have those capabilities, because that means there's numerous possibilities for where humanity can go.
Okay,
But
But
okay,
there's-
whether or not
don't
it happened, what's the value of it? Like we should discuss. Look, Jesus may or may not have existed in the sense that he truly was the Son of God. You know, he almost certainly was a living man that walked this earth and preached what he preached. And the rest of it is up to what you believe. But what is the value of what he taught? We as a society in the West seem to have, you know, we're forgetting very rapidly, you know, these things which really form the basis of our civilization. and they're not to be thrown away lightly.
I
No,
don't-
I think
I would
Connor,
disagree with that, Cam, because I think a lot of the teachings from the Christian Bible are pushed forward. They're just pushed forward in a different way. Like you can't sit here and defend the Catholic Church because it has committed so many atrocities throughout history.
No,
Oh,
you
yeah.
absolutely can still defend the Catholic Church. This is
Raping
again no,
kids.
because this comes back to the whole institution versus individual problem. It's the same conversation when you make the claim that the United States is systemically racist. My
Oh,
counter
yeah.
argument, the
Okay.
counter argument is no, individuals within that institution, organization, entity were sinful. Certain priests, with the raping and molesting, that's unforgivable. They shouldn't be priests because they're, first of all, they're hypocrites. Second of all, they're
Well,
criminals.
so I
Also,
think
you can say stuff about the
that was-
Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition. Yes,
So-
it's caused a lot of harm, but the other thing is the church has been a factor for good in terms of charity, in terms of lifting people.
Well, who has-
Individual churches and
Okay,
individual
so-
pastors, they make a lot of good in the world for people.
I
Who
will-
has the most money in
I
the
will
world right
address
now? The
that
Catholic
issue
Church
of
does.
systemic thing that you were talking about, Cam, because
No.
I am 100%. I always argue against that. There's an issue of systemic racism and stuff like that in American politics and in American in American institutions. 100%. But if we are looking specifically at the priest abuse issue when they were abusing and molesting children, I don't know if you've done any reading on it, watched the movie Spotlight, watched interviews. There was a systemic issue going on there. There was specific protocols developed by the church and the Vatican to hide it.
Right,
That's
but
the-
I'm saying you can't cast a light on every single church or every single member of clergy.
Sure.
Like I'm saying, listen, like don't get me wrong. I'm aware that the institution and the organization of religion can be a dangerous thing and can be an evil thing and can be completely antithetical to the religion in which they preach. I can see that point entirely. I don't necessarily think that religion should be organized to an extent that the Catholic Church still is today. But let's also not be black and white and say that they're entirely a force for evil, because they're not entirely.
No, I agree.
Whoa, no. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. I don't think that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Christianity, and I believe Jesus was there for purely good. Like the Bible wasn't made until far after Jesus died. I think that, in its core, Christianity is a great thing, and I think that, Jesus wanted the best from people, and he didn't teach people in churches, right? He
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
taught
you're right,
people-
you're right.
He went and taught people in the world, and I mean that's one thing that I disagree about is going to church, because Jesus never had a church. Like Jesus' church was the world, and it's like you treat people outside of everyday life how you'd want to be treated, and you do right by other people, and
Yeah.
to live a good Christian life is to live a good life and do right by others.
I agree, but
I forget-
also like some community stuff can be good. Like I think one of the good trends with Christianity is these like mega churches where people go and they stand together and they sing and they preach and shit. Like
Correct.
that community aspect, like I think that's good. Like your kind of rigid idea of the church, yeah, maybe that's kind of stupid, and like Jesus himself didn't even want that. But like also there's something to be said for community.
Building a community is good.
At its
But,
core, religion really does, to those that feel lost, give people a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose. And I think
Right.
religion,
But why? That's what we're trying to get at, right?
It's a great medium to give people a platform that need to feel like they belong, to feel like they're a part of something. Because at the end of the day, humans are social creatures. We do
Yeah.
not do well when we are cooped up. We are isolated. And I think religion provides an excellent avenue for people that are striving for a sense of purpose.
But so would you say, this is the question. Is okay. Is it delusion, or do you think there's real value? Like, are people deluding themselves by having faith?
No,
or
No.
is there true value from from an existential point of view? Phil, what do you have to say? Because you haven't said much.
I know I tried to sneak a word in, but so I just wanted to quickly go back to Connor's initial question about, and then I can go a bit more deeper. So why there are no more profits, so to speak, or why hasn't there hasn't been this new direction religion is taking? I think it's because for some reason, and I can't quite pinpoint it, the value of religion in people's lives is diminishing. So it could be that I think it's a symptom of why there isn't this new direction that religion is taking, because it's completely fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
why I
I would
think that
disagree
is,
completely with that.
Wait, let him lay out his
so
argument,
I
because
think I think it's plummeting because I think it's kind of institutionally influenced. I think we kind of are, like, you can see religion as parabolic. So you have, like, initially hundreds of years ago, it was institutionally based. So like it was politically motivated. It was X, Y, and Z. And then as things went on, it became less so.
Yeah.
And then now I'm speculating that we're in this kind of rut, and eventually we're going to get out, and it's religion is going to become synonymous with like education. It's going to become as meaningful.
Well, it already
But
is. But
do you think
here's
the
the thing.
rut
Here's
is
the thing.
because? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, here's the thing with what happens when people intermingle and I would equate this to when the Vikings raided England, right? Eventually they just came to a mutual understanding they're gonna live together, and over time there is so much intermingling, and like the Vikings would breed with the English, and eventually it just became England, and the Vikings became English, and the English became Viking. And it's like the more these different religions are intermingling and stuff like that, it's like less important as to which religion you are. But I feel like the spirituality that people have is still there. It's just maybe people are disassociating themselves from one specific religion and just believing in a higher power and a higher being.
Yeah.
Unless so on like, this is my Christian God. It's just like, well, I believe in God, but maybe like I don't believe in like everything that Christianity has to offer, but I believe in many of the similar teachings. It's just I can't identify as a Christian now
I
because
think
of my
you're.
different
I
beliefs.
think
But that
so.
it
You're
still
on to
doesn't grasp
something.
the question that they're becoming more secular. Like in theory, this
But
intermingling of
it's
religion
not
would kind of amplify
Well, okay.
religious.
What you're saying is true, I think, uh,
I think so too.
Connor. But so that explains. But what Phil's saying comes into play as well. So people are retaining spirituality or something akin to spirituality, but in a secular way, which is strange. And by that I mean, it's no coincidence that half of our generation and Gen Z and whatever are so focused on being political activists, for instance, or environmental activists. Environmentalism itself, or any political ism, ideologies, let's say, are in many ways extremely similar to religion. So it's interesting because
Faith-based.
like we see our society becoming more secular and more politically polarized at the same time. So replacing religion in people's minds are ideologies instead, which is exceptionally dangerous. It's not going to
But
go anywhere well. It's not good.
the way I look at it is, you're like, people have always been spiritual, and back in time, people took their spirituality and drove it towards their religion, which would be Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, whatever it is, Buddhism, whatever it is. And the more people intermingle, because globalization is a thing, and like you're gonna meet different cultures and you're gonna meet different backgrounds, and people are gonna come to these mutual understandings, and you know,
But what
like
I'm saying is
their belief
everyone's
in God and their belief in whatever that higher power would be doesn't change. It's just uh they sometimes just disassociate themselves a little bit more. It's like, think about like after World War II, right? There's three sects of Judaism that came out. There's like Orthodox, I forget all of them. I just remember Orthodox and
right. But okay,
like what they
so
call it,
I
neo
want to
Judaism.
address the question that Cam asked about, about faith. I think I think faith is a good thing for people because it gives them a sense of comfort. It gives them a sense of meaning that this isn't all for naught. There is a higher powered be that wants to see us succeed. But then on the other side of the coin, I don't necessarily think if you don't have faith that is also a bad thing. Like, just to give you my perspective, I would consider myself to be an agnostic, and it's not that I want to believe that God exists. It's just I haven't found any reason to believe that he exists. And that doesn't bring me any discomfort. Just it's
okay, but here's my argument. So we just talked about
what it is.
meaning. But okay,
And
so we
I
talked
can
about
interject, and I would like to go after Cameron and see what he has to say about it.
okay. This is the thing. This is like the big thing. Is we're all talking about meaning
Steal
in
my
various we're talking about meaning in various forms, right? Like we're all searching for meaning. I mean, that's why we're here, for God's sakes. Like that's what religion is. It's driving at the truth. It's driving at meaning. So yes, Connor, when you say people have always been spiritual and they still are today, absolutely. Everyone is still looking for meaning, right? In whatever. But what I'm trying to argue though, like, and what I'm trying to say is that you could make the case that finding that meaning in religion or in faith is much better than finding it in
Material.
ideology, in environmentalism, or these new age, bullshit. Um, like, so the answer to the question of why haven't there been any new religions, it's not obvious that that's true. You could argue that communism is a religion in a sense. Fascism is a religion. Environmentalism is a religion. No, it is though, right? Because
Well,
these
no,
people, no, excuse me, no, these people live and die by these things. They have their prophets, Vladimir Lenin, and whoever. But that is demonstrably more dangerous and has terrible effects on society compared to trying to find your meaning in faith and in religion, so it's like,
I feel like
I mean,
many people,
that's my argument.
like, you go and find me one person that's like that, because I find, like, I was raised in a Christian home,
Dude, I don't
but
think we're disagreeing here, but go on.
I'm not Christian anymore. And like, I know like my cousins and my aunts and stuff like that. Um, my aunt is a Wiccan, and so she's a witch, and like, she never believed in Christianity, but that doesn't mean she's not a spiritual person and she has faith. And
Burn
like, I feel
her.
like, like,
Burn
maybe
the
we're just going back and forth over the same thing over and over and over again here, but
I didn't say you had to find meaning in Christianity. I said you had to find it in religion. As
Whatever.
close to
yeah,
that.
but I think like a lot of people like that say they're disassociated from religion still believe in something, believe in a higher power, and believe in like doing, like, because when it comes down to it, religion is just like, do unto others as you do to yourself, and treat everyone with respect, and be nice to people, and do what's right for your fellow human. In
Yeah.
essence, I think that's what, and obviously there's different variations, because there is gray in the world, like, not everything's black and white, so there is some gray ground. But I feel like every religion has the right intention, and people try and do what they can to the best of their abilities for each, whatever it is their belief is. And I feel like everyone on some scale, even the people that don't believe in God still believe in doing well by others.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Fair enough.
I
Phil,
would
okay,
like
wait.
to
Phil
add-
said he wanted to go after me, so Phil, take it away.
so it's kind of
Blow our
a
minds. Blow our
I
fucking
know I
minds.
want to. So this may be a little bit off topic, but I'll try to ground it in religion. So I find that, or I at least I think that the less a society becomes religious, it exacerbates the level of collective responsibility. Whereas the more you lean toward a religious society, you tend to be more focused on personal responsibility. And what I mean by this is that as you build this relationship, like you can look at it this way. If you are a Christian, you develop a relationship with God, so to speak.
Yeah.
And having that relationship, I think by you being more religious, you are in turn profoundly introspective
Mhm.
constantly.
Well, that's all that religion is, right? Is digging deeper into your soul.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and
I've always-
that's why I think religion is so important in
I've
today's
always-
society.
I've always struggled with that saying though. No disrespect to anyone that has found this relationship with God, but I struggle with that notion because for me, relationships are two-way street, right? It's about exchanging common likes and dislikes. It's about a feedback between two individuals. I think me personally, I think when people say, "Oh, I have a relationship with God," I find that to be a little like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone here. I just personally find that to be a little. I don't find it genuine because he's
Well,
not.
it's technically, Ryan,
Maybe-
it's a
maybe he
relationship
believes
with yourself.
but
It's a relationship with the divinity in yourself. But
Yeah.
that's also why I've been saying truth through this whole episode, truth with a capital T, because that is God, right? God is
Yeah.
truth. So
At the
we can
end of
have
the
a
day-
relationship with trying to discover the truth in our lives, the meaning in our lives, the purpose in our lives. That's what God is, right?
The biggest thing too is reflection, Ryan. It's like you look into yourself and you look into yourself and you're like, you wake up in the morning, you're like, well, how can I be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday? And what can I do to better the people around me? That's essentially what it is. And
and you know
it's
what?
like, and it comes down to this one saying. It's just like, it's like karma essentially. It's like, like however you treat others is how it's going to come back to you tenfold. So if you treat everyone else like shit,
Yeah, it's the golden rule.
that shit is going to come back to you. But if you treat everyone like awesomely and nice, more doors are going to be open for you, more opportunities are going to be open for you. So
I completely respect that. And if people want to attribute religion as they want to attribute that school of thought and that, that self-improvement, and they want to attribute that to religion, more power to them.
I mean, it's true though. That's what it's from.
Me personally, I don't attribute thinking like that to religion. And maybe the origin of thinking like that comes from religion. And I can recognize that, but I personally don't attribute thinking like that to religion.
Well, but that's what okay.
So why aren't you a selfish person? Why don't you just do everything for yourself and nobody else?
Well, then now we're getting into a topic of natural law and universal morality. And
well, no, but the golden rule is based off of what? The golden rule or karma, it's the same principle, is based off of the notion that human beings have dignity. And when I say that our entire civilization is founded on Judeo-Christian values, that is the prime one, that human beings have dignity. No, wait. But why do we have dignity? Why are we special? Because we have a spark of divinity within us, which means that every person has a bit of God within them, which means they're worthy of respect. And you could call me crazy.
Clear though, so I think we can all agree that there is a universal code or universal morality that all humans ascribe to. The biggest thing being murder is wrong, right? That universal morality
bullshit.
Shut down. Fuck.
That universal morality does not exist because of religion. Religion exists because of that universal morality.
Okay, yeah, so we can agree a little bit there.
No, like you could
but one comes from the other.
Yo, I'm sorry, but if that's the bottom line, Ryan, why don't I go rob banks all day? Like, if the bottom line is just don't kill other people.
Well, it's also against the law to rob banks.
That draws into materialistic possessions and how a human beings feel about things that belong to them, that gets into a much wider and larger philosophical topic.
He's a communist. He doesn't
The
believe in
basis-
private property.
I agree. No.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm the biggest proponent of material. I fucking love my shit. Okay, let's get that straight. You touch my shit, I'll kill you.
And you know what? That's partly contributing to your agnosticism.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Get called out.
No, I'm fully. I admit to being an agnostic, 100%.
Yeah.
But
So Ryan,
there
my
could be a
question-
correlation.
I gotta.
Wait, I want to hear what Phil was saying because Phil never got to finish his point about the fact that you posited that the presence of religion could tend towards more individualistic thinking, and the opposite would lead to collective. So, what did you mean by? So, how does the absence of religion tend towards collective thinking? Or like it would seem to be, I think you could argue both ways, you know?
I know, I'm still thinking that through.
You're like confused
but-
yourself.
I'm introspecting.
Take another
Alright,
hit
well,
of the hit
maybe-
of the blunt.
I know,
Maybe we should save. Maybe we should continue this next week.
Yeah.
Give you some time to ponder that over there, Phil. And
It's a very it's a deep question, very intricate.
so I guess we can dive into that more next week. And Ryan, the basis of religion is to believe in, like, there's a point to a human life, and like after you live your life on earth, there's something after to look forward to.
I completely
So
respect
next week, I think what we're gonna do next week is maybe ponder your mind a little bit more on that and figure out what you think happens, or if you just think life is meaningless, the afterlife, if there is anything, and probably get some perspective from the other guys. And once again, please slide into the DMs any questions or any topics you want us to discuss you think might be interesting to get our perspective on. Please feel free to ask us. We will for sure answer them in one of our episodes.
Social medias will be in the description.
Yeah, exactly. Social media in the description. If you're listening to this clip on our social media, find us on Spotify, Apple Music. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, take care, brush your hair.